Title, please.
5 lawyers, 1 fatal mistake. How the case was lost.
Late one evening, a Sikh radio host was ambushed and stabbed over 40 times. He managed to survive, and the investigation eventually led to a man named Mr. Brar, who was accused of ordering the attack. To prove Brar was behind the hit, the prosecution brought in a star witness named Jaspal. Jaspal was actually one of the attackers, but he agreed to tell the court everything in exchange for a lighter punishment. This chart shows the specific reason Jaspal was talking. In return for his testimony, the court granted him a 30% reduction in his prison time. In any criminal trial, relying on a witness who gets years taken off their sentence creates a major problem. There is a built-in risk that they might say whatever is necessary to keep their end of the bargain, even if it isn't true. To protect against that risk, New Zealand law includes a specific safety net, a formal caution used for evidence that might be untrustworthy. This caution is a moment where the judge stops the trial to tell the jury, in no uncertain terms, that they need to be very careful and skeptical when listening to that witness. For his trial, Mr. Brar hired a dream team of 5 highly experienced defense lawyers to protect his interests. But throughout the entire trial, not one of those 5 legal experts ever asked the judge to give that formal caution to the jury. Why would an elite legal team choose to stay silent and skip the standard legal protection meant to expose a lying witness? The defense lawyers had a different plan. Every time they spoke to the jury, they described Jaspal's sentence discount as a shady deal with the police. They wanted the jury to believe the authorities were acting corruptly. If they could make it look like a backroom bargain, Jaspal would look compromised without the lawyers ever needing a formal caution from the judge. However, the lawyers were misrepresenting how the law actually works. In reality, the police have no power to change a prison sentence. By repeatedly calling it a police deal, the defense pushed too far, forcing the judge to step in and explain the actual legal process. The judge corrected the lawyers in open court. He explained that sentence discounts are decisions made solely by a judge, following strict legal guidelines. This diagram shows the defense's plan backfiring. Their narrative of a corrupt bargain collapsed. By defending the court's rules, the judge inadvertently signaled the system's trust in Jaspal. This canceled the defense's attack, leaving his testimony stronger than if they had requested a standard caution. After hearing the evidence, the jury reached a decision. Brar was found guilty of attempted murder. A strategy meant to undermine the witness without the judge's help actually led to the judge unintentionally giving that witness more credibility. After the conviction, the lawyers immediately appealed the case to the highest court in New Zealand. Their main argument was that the trial was unfair because the judge never gave that formal caution about the witness's honesty. They argued that juries naturally trust people too much. They need a judge to tell them when a witness has a secret reason to lie. But the Supreme Court justices looked at the trial and quickly rejected the argument. The court realized that the lawyers were trying to get a second chance at a trial because of a problem they had helped create. The decision was shaped by a set of court reforms launched in 2026. These rules require judges to make sure a trial's complexity is a fair match for the crime being discussed. Under these rules, lawyers have a specific obligation to be helpful and direct with the court. They are expected to help the trial run smoothly, which means they can't stay silent when they see a mistake just to point it out later. The Supreme Court ruled that since the lawyers had already spent the whole trial telling the jury that Jaspal was untrustworthy, the jury already knew the risks. A formal caution from the judge wasn't strictly required. This sets a clear precedent for modern trials. Lawyers cannot ignore a missing caution during the trial, hoping to use it as a strategic excuse to restart the case if they lose. In the updated justice system, you have to speak up while the trial is happening. If you don't say anything at the time, you lose your right to complain about the result afterward.